Elon Musk fumes at San Francisco mayor after city opens investigation into Twitter headquarters. That is the headline right now. That is what I'm seeing here, and I've got to tell you, it is remarkable how thuggish the Democrats are willing to be. Nice Twitter you got there, Elon. Be a shame if something happened to it. The mayor of San Francisco is overseeing, well, I should say the apparatus of San Francisco is doing an investigation to look at whether the company's headquarters, Twitter's headquarters in San Francisco, has set up some beds in offices for employees. And Elon Musk has pointed out in a tweet, so City of San Francisco attacks companies providing beds for tired employees instead of making sure kids are safe from fentanyl. Where are your priorities, London Breed, he asks. But see, this is actually what the Democrat priorities are. Cleaning up the streets, making your children safe, making you safe in San Francisco and New York and name a major city. That is a secondary priority to harassing Twitter and making sure that it does not become the haven for free speech that Elon Musk is slowly but surely turning it into. That's something that, as we continue to watch this play out, they're just going to find more and more ways to bring about more pressure. For example, they've talked about, the White House has brought up that they're watching Twitter closely. Why is the White House watching Twitter? In what world is the White House actually thinking that it is in its purview to do this, right? Well, in the world of the most important single thing is making sure that the left has dominance of social media platforms, dominates the conversation online, and can take action against anybody who stands athwart that, right? Or who doesn't go along with that. So Elon knows they're doing an investigation. Now, California labor law, everyone understands, is you've got a bunch of communist apparatchiks making sure that it's as impossible as possible for anybody to run and operate a business in California, which is why it's hemorrhaging people and going to continue to hemorrhage people, because they've taken what was a Republican stronghold, gave us Ronald Reagan, everybody, a Republican stronghold until the 90s, and in the richest and most populous U.S. state, and they're just ruining it. They're ruining the place. Elon Musk should move Twitter's headquarters ASAP from San Francisco. That much of it is clear. Okay, Elon Musk should move it, and I mean, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, bunch of states that he should consider moving the headquarters. And he's already cut the staff size by 85%. So that's certainly a move in the right direction. And it still functions really well. Isn't that amazing? 85. If you told me that you just fired 85% of employees of McDonald's, for example, I'd say, well, you're probably going to have a lot of problems, right? You fire 85% of employees at Disney, you're going to, that's probably not going to work. I mean, you could get rid of some, I'm sure, but that's a lot. Twitter, it's no big deal, because what it had become was effectively a place of sinecure, a place of privileged perch for elite libs to engage in woke politics and to suppress people that in any way disagreed with them and to take all the actions. Which brings me to, of course, Elon Musk firing as well. A lot of Elon stuff going on. Elon Musk firing James Baker. No, not that James Baker. People have had to, that's a different James Baker. The James Baker who was the senior counsel at the FBI and became deputy counsel of Twitter. It came out that this same individual who, while at the FBI, was overseeing aspects of the Russia collusion hoax. It was a massive hoax. It was used in the worst possible faith, worst possible violation of public trust as a weapon against the Trump administration by deep state elements. This is all fact. People go, oh, why are you talking about the deep state? Because I know, because I worked in the CIA, I know the kind of people that rise in these institutions and how they become very cozy with those in power in the political and elected branches of government or parts of government. And I understand that they view the usage of the bureaucracy as a tool of left-wing dominance as something that they absolutely should do. Absolutely. They think that they're saving the country, which brings me to not only do you have Elon Musk firing Baker now, who was looking over the Twitter files, apparently. It's very strange. He was looking over the Twitter files before they were released last week. The story that the Democrat-aligned MSM still refuses, absolutely refuses, to spend any time on, right? But that story, as we know, is going to continue on. I believe Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter, has already said he wants Elon Musk to release all of the files, right? He wants Elon Musk to just put it all out there. And I think that that would be great. I do think that there's going to need to be at least some sifting through that occurs, right? Because heaven knows how much in the way of communications and things of that nature have been going on at Twitter that you could see that are completely irrelevant. But he fired this guy, and he's continuing to do what he said he would do all along. Elon Musk is draining the swamp of Twitter. And it's a great thing to see. And the people that went along with the Hunter Biden laptop suppression, keep in mind, there was that, 51, I think is always I forget the number, the 51 former intelligence professionals. Now that we know, Twitter knew there was no real justification for it whatsoever. They made one up. Twitter had been told by the FBI in advance that there was some kind of Russian disinformation coming. The FBI, after involving itself so egregiously in the 2016 election, took the lesson that they need to involve themselves again in 2020. They just need to make sure there's a different outcome. That is what happened. Right? 2016, they got in there, James Comey. Oh, nobody would bring charges against Hillary. You're not the attorney general. What's the FBI director doing giving that speech? No person can justify that. No rationalization for that whatsoever could you have other than a partisan one. But after the total debacle of 2016, the FBI, the FISA warrants against Carter Page and the spying on Papadopoulos and all this craziness, the fabrication of evidence used in one of those FISA warrants, all the things that were done in that Get Trump operation of Russia collusion, the FBI comes along in 2020, and what do? Try to find a way to get even more involved, and this time make sure that they're actually going to have a Democrat as president. I don't know how else you can think the Hunter Biden laptop suppression story plays. There are people for whom, remember, there's a lot going on here with the ways that this benefits individuals who engage in these soft coups, if you will. Notice that this guy Baker goes from being at the FBI as a senior lawyer there to going to Twitter. Vijaya Gadde was making about $10 million a year as a senior lawyer at Twitter. So trust me, this guy Baker was making a whole heck of a lot of money. And it's really just all the giant self-licking ice cream cone of the apparatus. That's what you see. You do what you can inside of government to make sure that your side, Team Democrat, wins. Even to the point where people know about what you do, know that you had your hand on the scale for one side or the other. Then you come out and you get a great job in the private sector, making millions of dollars, maybe a book deal. Look at all the people. I remember when I was in the CIA, I remember as soon as I left, people were telling me, oh, we don't talk about anything that we did in the agency, and people don't really go on TV. And I was going on TV to talk about what was in the news. I wasn't saying, oh, well, this is what I did in the CIA. And I was an analyst. I was writing memos mostly. But you see the CIA directors, I think there were 5 of them, former directors, including acting directors, who signed their names to that Hunter Biden laptop Russian disinformation lie. None of them are embarrassed. None of them have faced any adverse professional consequences as a result of it because they served their purpose. That was their mission. The mission was to lie to as many people as possible right before an election to make sure that Joe Biden would win that election. That was it. So it's not, people would say to me, oh, they must be so embarrassed. They must hang their heads in shame. No, they're picking out yachts, my friends. They don't care because their job wasn't to tell you the truth. The job was to leverage their former roles in the government and to burn whatever credibility, whatever gravitas they have in service of the Democrat Party. And some of the people who did that have gone on to get even bigger, better jobs in the media, more influential, certainly a whole heck of a lot more money than they made in the government. And the elimination now of this guy, James Baker, from Twitter is indicative of there's going to have to be a whole lot more cleanup that occurs. This is only at one of these social media platforms. Imagine if we got unfettered access to the internal communications at Facebook, at Google, before an election. You would see things that would just make you realize we're operating in a world of funhouse mirrors. It's not funny. We're operating in a world where propaganda has become 24/7, constantly accessible, much more advanced than anything that could have even been considered before in the, let's say, in the Soviet era. You see what goes on with Twitter and the way they set up, for example, the Trust and Safety Commission. You say it's as though they read 1984 and they didn't see Orwell's 1984 as a warning. It was a how-to guide, a lesson. Oh, let's call it the Trust and Safety Committee. And then let's have it put its thumb down on the scale for one side over the other. Let's help the Democrat left, which, as we know from COVID, without question, is the authoritarian ideology in America today. And let's do what we can to help them by lying to people about as much as we possibly can. And that's true on COVID. That's true on a range of issues. Certainly true on the Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, think about this. We're still here, and people are trying to tell you that it's not a big deal. Oh, okay. Let's just take a step back. Same media apparatus that thought unveiling the Billy Bush Trump tape about, grabbing the ladies, that was going to cost Trump the presidency. That was the most classic October surprise possible that went all the way deep into the archives of NBC. They were holding it. It was held for maximum impact. Of course, we know it didn't do anything. Trump ended up winning. They thought, though, that would cost Trump the presidency and actually should have forced him to. Some were saying he should have dropped out, right? Oh, he should drop out. Maybe Michael Avenatti can be president. Not from his prison cell. They thought that would happen. A laptop that shows that Hunter Biden is selling access to Joe Biden in a corrupt influence peddling scheme. He wasn't selling access to Finland, folks. I think this is important, too. He wasn't selling access, or at least the perception of access to Joe Biden to Portugal. He was selling it to China and to oligarchs in Ukraine. That's where the money was coming from. And that's what they didn't want people to think about and to figure out right before the election, because as we know, you don't have to change a lot of minds. You only have to, you swing 100,000 people on one of these stories and you swing the election. And Elon knows that, which is why he is finally getting us to a place of some transparency, some truth in all of this.